Hello, my name is Gary Schotten, and I'm going to speak on the subject today of not a fighter. Now, what do I mean by that? Why would we go to blows and fight with somebody physically? We have all kinds of rampage right now where people are being upset, and they go even to guns and hurt and kill people. And it just doesn't make sense. There's some things that are just not worth the fight. Winning is not always the best thing for you to do. I was sitting with a friend of mine. We meet for lunch about every 3 or 4 months. He's a very successful business owner to the tune of $145 million a year in sales in his combined 2 companies. And while we're sitting there eating, just the 2 of us, he gets a phone call. We both know that when our wives call, that's grounds for interruption in a meeting like that. It's casual. His wife, he conveyed later, was expressing some problems with their car where they had a tire that was out around or imperfect or need repair, and he gave them some quick guidance. And then quickly after that, it became evident that maybe these tires, even though they came on a car that was valued at $150,000, was old tires, like a 6-year-old tire on a brand new $150,000 car. So we got to talk about this, and I got to watch how he reacted to this, and it was pretty interesting. And he came to a conclusion that even though he was a customer of this very high-end car dealership, and they had purchased 5 cars valued at $150,000 each over the last several years, he wasn't really going to fight them. It wasn't worth the fight. If they didn't treat him right, simple, just don't go back. Why fight? See, there's a reason that we don't want to have an attitude of always fighting, always bringing contention, always making sure that the score is settled, always being sure that everyone knows that we're right and they're wrong. There's things that you don't want to do that will just create fight after fight after fight. It's not proper. It's not ethical. It's not good for you. It's not good for business. It will tie up your resources. It'll tie up your mental resources. There is truth to the fact that a win is not worth fighting for all the time. Let me give some other examples. That I had the moving business, and we moved furniture. Like, we moved 33,000 customers in a 17-year period. Now, we didn't crack down the revenue that my friend did. This is several years ago. We were right at the $3 million a year in sales. That means a lot of moves, $300 moves and $500 moves. But in that process, we would have furniture that appeared to get damaged. Some of it we actually damaged, but some of it we didn't damage, that it appeared that we damaged. No one had seen the scratch. No one had looked close enough. And when we physically move it and we set it in a new light or a new situation, wow, there's a scratch or there's something wrong with the leg. We didn't do that. But many times we just said, hey, it's not worth the fight. You win. Let's figure out how we can fix it. And we could fix it very quickly and easily, and it'd be gone. That's what we're talking about. Winning is not always the objective. The objective in many cases is keeping our customer happy. And we faced it here with, you'll see here, our name is Inspiring Better Business. We had a different name, and that name was found to be a trademark infringement. Now, I'm not knocking these people that trademarked that name, our previous name. I'm not even going to mention it. Doesn't matter. But they have geared themselves up with legal teams that are going to search consistently and make sure that nobody's using that name, and that name, to me, is not worth the fight. Whereas my friend that has the 2 companies that I talked about earlier, if somebody infringes on his, not just name, we talked about his logo, yeah, his exact name, yes, but on his logo, no. But on the chemical makeups of what he's doing, sure, they're going to fight that, because that's who they are. So you'll have to decide when the fight is worth it. Now, I have a key speaker, someone that speaks into my life publicly. I don't have private audience with this person, and they gave a history of this very subject that made me think of it, that basically when they were in high school, he was a football kind of guy. He's kind of ready to win, going to win at every step of the way, ready to fight you if that was his attitude, and then he becomes a solid Christian. And there's a time shortly after that that these boys in another town come over to challenge him, make fun of him, make fun of his Christian stand, make fun of like his reputation. And he had a choice to make. And he said in his public speaking that he chose not to take these guys out. He could have physically done it. I really believe that. He was a fighter. He had the capability. And his attitude was this: he doesn't have to make the score equal at every crossroad. He took the approach that, and it happened, somebody else is going to take care of those guys. And so in the process of time, he read or heard that these same guys that were bullying him, he could have stood up, fought them, and beat them, could have won. He let time and process take its course, and somebody else came in and put them in the hospital because they were fighters. These guys are fighters, and they're going to try to fight, and there's always going to be somebody who will try to win over the top of them. We've got to pick our battles. We're not always destined to be the winner. Sometimes it's just easier to walk away, easier to count it a loss, easier to write it off as non-collectible. Easier, you'll have to make that decision. You can't do that very often because you have to pay the bills. So there is a time to stand up and make sure you win, but there are other times where you're going to have to be willing to walk away, willing to set your ego aside and make sure that you win ultimately, not every little battle. I hope this helps. Please pass these on to others if you would. I'm proud to have you listening to us. We are here to inspire better business. Thank you.